Welcome in, everyone. It is the last regular season Saturday of the college basketball season. So, college game breakers coming at you. I got Steven Carlson with me on this lovely Saturday. You'll see him twice tomorrow. Me and him are grinding these hoops, digging into the games. Nice conference slate loaded up today. Steven, how you doing?
I'm stressed right now because I made a nice little challenge with myself to bet every single conference tournament game, and it's gonna have me go broke, and it's just me in like a perpetual state of checking every single score to see which games are flipping every day.
Yeah, and I was about to say, you've only reloaded the account once so far. Didn't have to put much in there, but when looked at the account this morning, it was looking pretty nice from that reload. So you're back to where you started. It looks like you're basically net even, but you can let me know if I'm off there.
Yeah, it's been about average. Pretty much just being stressed about stuff for 9 hours a day just to be at the same amount I started with, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to take years off my life.
Yeah, it's been my past month, just pushing money around to have some fun, get some nice wins, get some gross beats. But we both got 9 games we're coming at you today. We got one nooner. The rest is throughout the day. So don't worry. We're not going to try to jam 18 picks into 13 minutes. We're not going to go too long into each game. We're going to give you our quick hits of why we like each one. But, Steven, with the nooner, who do you got here?
I got Navy here. I'm really heavy into the Patriot tournament today, but I mean, it's crazy. Navy and Colgate have been the two best teams in this conference pretty much far and away this year. And Navy's only loss was an overtime game to their rival Army in conference. So them only giving 4 to Loyola Maryland, who is 4-10, just seems crazy unless Navy just has like 3 people injured that I don't know about. But they should win this game easy.
Yeah, this is the 4th time they're matching up this season because the Patriot with their scheduling was pretty wild. Navy got all 3, covered the number that you have here in all 3. So let's just keep it rolling. Let's hope the midshipmen get 4 in a row.
Yeah.
All right, so the first game that we share, we got the nice American East. I did a conference preview stream on this one, essentially just saying how the American East just gave UMBC and Vermont kind of a layup to get to the semifinal. So this is their one quote-unquote tough game. UMBC is going to be hosting UMass Lowell. And UMass Lowell, I don't want to say they got lucky, but the return of Obadiah Noel has been the entire thing for this team. Without him there, they look like a team that would get eliminated in the first round. UMBC, they are the top squad here. They got the home court advantage, and their defense is just going to be too much to deal with for UMass Lowell. Completely one-dimensional. I think Obadiah still might get his 15 to 20 points, but the rest of the team's going to struggle to produce just because they're that limited. And with this UMBC team, you got a nice attack. They just don't like to run deep. So that's just kind of where stay out of foul trouble. They lock down on the 2-point defense. And, yeah, a lot of the stats is baked because they're the 13th overall best team in 2-point percentage defense because you play the American East the whole time with no non-con. But I think they'll be able to control Noel. He'll get his, but UMBC, they'll cover the 5.5.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same for me here. I think it's UMBC easy. But then again, I thought UMass Lowell was going to lose every game in this tournament that they played so far. And all they do is prove me wrong, even though they should have lost to Stony Brook. Mm-hmm. They should not have won that game. But I hope the third time's a charm for me. Bet against UMass Lowell 3 times. At least let me win 1.
Yeah, that one against Stony Brook was definitely a rough one. And they're just living on extra life. If this game was like the other conference tournaments where it's back-to-back-to-back each day, then I think UMass Lowell would be getting stomped by at least double digits here. But since they did have a little bit of the week break, I'm still confident in that minus 5.5.
Yeah, same here. So do you want to give out your second one or do you want me to go right to my third?
I'll give out my second so we get even back up. Then we can just rotate. So another 2 o'clock tip here. Indiana, they're just the towel's been thrown in. Coach Miller going to be gone. Senior day for Indiana, so maybe that's a little bit of an angle, so they could come out hot in the first half. But all signs just show, given their previous games, that that's not going to show up for IU today because this team has just been sleepwalking, just not performing anywhere near expectations. Archie Miller, I mean, he didn't make the tournament at IU. I think he's basically done at this point, under 500 each year in conference play. And Matt Painter, I mean, they got Purdue's a lock for the tournament. They've won 4 in a row. 6.5 is a big number here, so I didn't like that's where it's at, but it dropped a half a point. Still feel confident because I think this is just your tune-up game before the Big Ten. Archie's going to be gone, and it's just more of a fade IU than anything else here.
Yeah, I mean that sounds good to me. Fucking, I've given up on even looking at any of Purdue's spreads for the rest of the year because I can never pick them right. But I mean, it sounds like a solid play for Purdue.
Yeah, I hate trying to cap motivation in that. It's nothing that a number doesn't tell you what it is. It's just if you watch the IU games, I mean, they're competing in them, but I just think it's done for them.
Yeah, probably. Or well, definitely. Let's see. My third game, I'm still staying in the very small conferences, and I want to take Wagner. This is a little bit of kind of like just me looking at the records, a little bit of me wanting to root for my coach's former teams, except for Rhode Island because fuck Rhode Island. But I mean, Wagner's been solid in the Northeast again. I feel like in this conference it's kind of them and Bryant, and that's what I want to see in the championship game. So
Well, you were working this morning. Did you see that huge Bryant news that came out?
I did not.
They're only going to have 7 dudes eligible to play, and Childs isn't one of them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're laying it. The spreads barely came down because Sacred Heart just isn't that great. But that's where I still think Bryant gets through, but they just got smacked and are going to be playing with only 7 guys today.
Yeah, that sucks. But I mean, I would want to see a championship game if it can happen of Wagner and Bryant. So I think 4.5 isn't that many, especially playing at home, because I don't think the Northeast has a neutral site for their conference tournament. So a nice home game for Wagner. I think they win by more than 5.
Yeah, they smacked them the first time they played 61-39. The second time, Mary's mucked it up, made it 57-55. Those were both at Mount St. Mary's, and Mount St. Mary's defense or offense is just pretty awful. Bottom like 50 rate. So here I mean, that's where same reasoning for my IU play. Not confident in it, but it's good when you can get that nice team to fade there.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for some OVC hoops here?
Yes, sir.
So, oh shit. No, it's not the OVC. You have the Moorhead game. I just fucked up and put East Tennessee State in the wrong one. The Southern Conference. Yeah. My bad about that one. They're close enough to the Ohio Valley, but with Chattanooga and East Tennessee State, this is a complete toss-up game. You can see it with the line at a pick or a -1 for ETSU. I previewed this stream with Goose. I'll be live with him tomorrow as well to talk about the Big Ten. But with ETSU, they're my sleeper team. They're my team that I think can go deep in this conference tournament because they just play – they're the oddball out in that conference where they play with the slowest tempo. Chattanooga does as well, but not nearly as slow as East Tennessee State does. ETSU ranks much better on defense. Offense is kind of a wash there. So that's where with this Mox team, I know they finished at 18-7 and they're the lower seed somehow. That makes sense in this conference. But I just like what Brewer can do at 6'5". Chattanooga's, I guess, kind of big, but they're just not solid defensively. They don't have the one guy that can guard up and be their lockdown defender. Malachi Smith is definitely nice, but ETSU, they're just going to make you play that different style. I think Monsato is going to be the game changer here. I'm hoping that he goes for 10+, and that's where we get ETSU to come through. Complete pick 'em. had to get on this one because I was high on ETSU to go deep in here. So got to get past your first game to do that.
Yeah, yep. I don't have this one on my card, but I did take Chattanooga money line, and I'm starting to feel just a little bit worried about that because Chattanooga won each of the first 2 matchups by 2 points apiece, and it's tough to beat a team 3 times in a row, even if you blew them out the first 2 times. It's probably almost impossible to beat a team 3 times in a row, and you can't beat them by more than a basket.
Mm-hmm.
So, am I a little worried? Maybe. I mean, you laid out some good points. The numbers are telling me this isn't a good bet, but sometimes bad bets hit.
This one is like mine. The pick and roll model has this one like completely lined at where it is. This is just, I studied a little ETSU tape. Even though Forbes is gone, I still like what they can do.
Yeah. Let's see. My next game this is something you never really heard from me on here. I'm taking an underdog with the points.
Yeah,
Whoa,
that is
wild.
weird.
I know. I got the team from my home state, Hartford, +9 against Vermont. I think what Hartford kind of lives and dies playing a little bit more of like that. It's like a mix of like the NBA style and like the European style. They have a lot of the tall European bigs. They have a lot of stretch guys that can shoot the 3. So they just want to rebound, kind of get up the floor and hit 3s. If they can get even remotely hot today, Vermont hasn't been the same Vermont team that you've seen for the past 2 or 3 years. I think Hartford keeps it within 10.
Yep. So this is the only game that we have differing picks on, but technically we could both cash on it. So I guess you wouldn't call that differing picks, but I'm taking Vermont in the first half at the -5. What Steven alluded to is I'm not confident that they win this one by double digits here. I'm confident that they definitely come out and get the W because the American East will never have a team in the tournament that's not Vermont or UMBC, it seems, because they just line everything up to go that way. And that's just where I'll double down in the second half if they don't cover that first half spread because I'll be getting it under 9 for full game. So that's just where I can see them being up by 6 to 8 in the first half. The game finishes right at that number because Hartford's last game, that's what made me the most concerned and almost had me jump in because they fought back against Albany. Albany has a great 2-point offense, and that's just where Vermont's is just that much better than what Albany did. So if Albany almost pulled that upset outright, especially at Hartford, makes me a little bit more confident that Vermont's just going to dominate the inside here. And let's just see Ryan Davis, since he did win Player of the Year, questionable that he should have won it, but let's see if he can just own the inside for me today.
Yeah, this is a little surprising. This is I think this might be the first conference tournament game where the 2 teams didn't play each other in conference this year. They were supposed to have one game and it got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really know what they're going to do against each other. But I mean, I just got to ride with my guys. I know way too many people who go to school at Hartford right now. Yeah, you can't go against them.
You just got to hope they keep it close in the second half after they get smoked in the first, and we're both happy here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so, what's your next one?
My next play, I got Mercer money line over Wofford. This is one where I just like Mercer coming in warm. They didn't have to overexert themselves in their first round game, which I like to see, but they were at least able to get the game action and their shots up. So I feel like they're going to be – I definitely think they should be able to come out hot against Wofford because that offense was on fire against Samford, which pretty much anybody can do because Samford's not very good. But, I mean, I don't know. Mercer, they always just seem – this is one of like my like – dumb brain kind of like just look at the past type picks. Mercer usually plays well in their conference tournaments and in March. Probably only saying that from when they beat Duke that one time, but still, that's enough for me to pick them today.
So one, I hope Goose is one of our people watching it because this was his upset to pick in the tournament was Mercer would beat Wofford in this round here. Goose was tweeting at me last night. He found the number. The boys are buzzing. So he's definitely behind you in this pick. So that makes me feel confident here as well because he grinds this one, even though he does like Wofford. Can Mercer stop Storm Murphy, and you're good. If you let Murphy get in his bag, the Bears might be having a tough one there. So that's my only concern is that's who you'll probably be watching the whole time because the ball's in his hand majority of the time for Wofford. Do you like going against teams that just bomb threes? Because sometimes I specifically it's the angle where they can miss them all or they can make them all. So regardless of how that goes out, but those games I always like them more clenched just because they can get hot 3 possessions quick and you get a 9-0 run real quick in your face.
I know that was the only thing I was leaning on with the UMass game yesterday was like, I know they're just going to chuck threes and I might be able to get back in it a little bit, but nobody could shoot. The only guy who could play was Trey Mitchell. Everybody else was trash for them yesterday, that was super unfortunate, but classic UMass.
Yep. They just didn't rebound whatsoever. So before the season, team that we love to rag on, team that we thought buy in late on them here, UCLA. They're on the bubble pretty hard here. So last night didn't work out too well with me with Colorado State backing them to get the win and lose on the buzzer beater. So you got the rivalry game here with USC, UCLA. And this one is just, I'm closing my nose. I'm taking the 3 points in the game because UCLA, they're probably going to get smacked on the inside pretty hard. Yeah. Mobley should probably get whatever he wants. They got no guys with size that are going to be able to do it. Cody Riley, Jalen Hill, you guys are going to have a fun game today trying to control that. They might just go zone and just dare USC to beat them from 3 just because that's where their offense is a little bit weaker, even though they do have shooters. I just think the defense wins out here, and UCLA, the under's probably the easiest play in this one because neither team wants to go fast. UCLA is going to run 20 seconds off the clock each time they get the ball to limit USC getting out in fast break. But no, not many good signs stat-wise. Lines up for why UCLA will pull this one off, but I just think Mick Cronin gets this one through. I'm backing the better coach here.
Yeah. Whoa. I don't know. I kind of like the old Florida Gulf Coast coach better than that guy from Cincinnati.
You like Enfield more?
Yeah.
Enfield's been in the Pac-12 for forever, and he's made the tourney twice. All that hype off of Dunk City. Killing Dunk City was the worst thing that ever happened because they tried to come back this past conference tourney. They had one upset, right? Yeah. So it's a shame. We need to get them back dancing.
We do. But the only thing I want to talk about with UCLA is how right I was about Johnny Juzang at the beginning of the year. I said this guy was going to be good, and he's now the leading scorer since he's been able to play, which I love to see.
Yeah, and whatever gets the ball out of Jamie Vasquez Jr.'s hands makes me so much happier, even though I hate having to root for him. I think this is only the second time I'm backing UCLA this season. I fade them more often than not. But yeah, Juzang, solid guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all he had to do was get away from that bum Calipari, and he was good.
That seems very true this season with that team. What do you got for us next?
My next pick is I'm taking the surprise team of, I wouldn't call it the year, but just give me Drake -2. I feel like the only team that can really consistently say they're going to beat Drake is Loyola Chicago. So as long as they're not playing Loyola Chicago and they're only given 2 points, I'll take that every day.
Ooh, even without their top scorers?
Yeah.
And aren't they playing Missouri State?
Yeah, I know Missouri State's pretty good, but
yeah, that's where you just got to hope that Drake train keeps rolling. I just don't like where their chances are at, but when you're only laying 2 against Mizzou State, those games are great because I'm pretty sure that was a Friday night prime time and they gave them ESPN2 for it. So I remember watching the first one in that set. So you're not laying a big number. That's where if you're laying anything more than 3 or 4 with Drake, I'd be a little bit more concerned.
Yeah, I think my biggest concern is that Northern Iowa pulled out of their game yesterday. So they had an uncontested game and they just advanced. So Missouri State has, you could say Drake has the rest, but in a conference tournament like this, I'd rather have played already than just come into it cold.
Well, that's a strange point because It's worked out well for some teams, like Santa Clara. They look kind of dead their first game against Portland and then just romped Pacific last night. And then the opposite way is you could use St. Joe's or UMass. They looked great in their first game, and their second game that they came out looks like, I mean, UMass just took it right to them and didn't miss against St. Joe's, where they knew if they just got their legs even a little bit more dead than they already were, it was just going to be a coast ride. So it'll be interesting. We saw a lot more back-to-backs than usual, so it seems like the guys are more used to the extra stress on the legs.
Yeah, I wanted to respond to something to when you guys were all saying you were on Pacific, because I know I took Santa Clara money line to end the night last night.
Mhm.
I was not staying up for that midnight tip.
Oh, I've watched both Midnight Madnesses. So that's where me and JD did the whole West Coast conference. So I've had a pick on each one of those games. I've tweeted them out. I'll probably have tweets on those later because it's the 9 and the 12. I got my 2 to 6 action here. Let's see how confident I'm feeling, and we'll get into that. But a lot of the games I'm targeting today are the ones I'm watching just because with the Saturday slates, they're huge. But the games that caught my eye here, and this is Illinois against Ohio State. Another coin flip game that might kill me because all the games I've been playing recently have been between like 2 to 5 points. But Io might come back. I haven't seen it since we gone live if there's been an official word, but they said he was targeting this game for his one to come back. Do they need him to come back? Because they're one of the hottest teams in the nation without him there. So maybe him working his way back into the roster got the rest of the team that much needed confidence boost to get them rolling without Io. So now when you're adding back the best player in the team, let's hope that chemistry stays safe. And what is going up with Chris Holtman's squad? Drop against Michigan, Michigan State, and Iowa. So 2 of those losses ain't that bad, but Michigan and Iowa were both at home. And then you had that sandwich spot with Michigan State in there. So that was pretty tough. So senior day, once again for Ohio State. But I'm just going to ride the hot hand of the Illini right now till it burns me because this defense is finally figuring it out. And the way that they're playing right now, and if Io comes back and is just his same old self, this is a Final Four team I'm confident in. So I'm going to take the +2 here.
Yep. Yeah, if you can get Illinois at anything that's not giving points, take it every time because Ohio State's starting to look like the Ohio State team that shows up every other year in conference play.
I know you would love this one.
It only took them till February, but they were going to show their true colors eventually.
Yeah, so maybe this is a spot where they know it's a must-win. Maybe they peter out, get this win here, and lose first round in the Big Ten once they have their game. But going to take the points here. 4 o'clock tip. Going to be split screening the TV, and this is definitely getting one of the spots.
Yeah. Let's see. My next pick is I got Furman at home. I don't know. Furman is just they're just a solid pick, and they're playing VMI, who's going to try to get up and down. They want it to be pretty high scoring, which is a little bit worrisome for me laying 8 here. But Furman they're so solid all the way around. I think we all pretty much had them top 2 or 3 in this conference, and they can play either way. If they just want to outscore VMI, they can do it. If they want to shut them down on defense, they can do that too. Mm-hmm. So I just think this is one of like the safer picks I can like. I don't really have too much emotion on it either way. I just feel like it's safe.
Yeah, so this one, I think the line definitely moved 2 points in Furman's favor here. So that's where at the 8, Goose and one of the commenters on our SoCon preview was making a strong case for why VMI could potentially make some noise here. And I tried to look into it more, and it's just VMI's defense is their biggest issue. They can't force turnovers. They don't stop teams on the inside, and that's exactly where Furman excels. Their 2-point offense is top class in the SoCon. So that's just where this is going to be up and down game too, because VMI is going to push it unless Furman just wants to slow down the tempo and make VMI play out of their style and just rely on the inside game. I could see it going that way. I could see Furman just turning them over, getting it in transition as well. I mean, if I were to play VMI, I'm not going to feel confident in it. So this is a no play for me, but Furman's the side I think you'd have to look at.
Yeah. For sure.
All right, you ready for the grossest game of the day that I'm betting? And I cannot promise that this one would make a TV screen, just because I have another 4 o'clock game. So I have 3 4 o'clock games. One's Illinois, Butler versus Creighton. Butler's going to be without Aaron Thompson. Makes me even more confident here. But senior day for Creighton, they're going to be without McDermott. This is his 1 game suspension, or he's suspended for his comments that he made here. They kept him they kept McDermott there to coach at Nova, which made no sense. And then you suspend them the game later where not too sure what it is, or that is not the team checked out or sold out, but maybe since he's not here, this is a game that they play up for. But I'm just thinking that this team, I know you hate on them a lot for some reasons that are valid, some that I disagree with, but I just don't think Creighton gets a double-digit win here unless the players want McDermott out and whoever is the interim coach today, they want him to take it over. That could be the only way that I see Butler losing by more than double digits. So I'm going to lay the 12.5, close my nose, and that's a lot of confidence in that one there.
Yeah, I mean, it's never a good sign when the school just fully commits to riding the we care more about the basketball team than we care about actually taking the proper action against the stuff that our coach said. Like that's not great, because like it's so easy to tell that he didn't really care about the apology, because he kind of just did like the notes thing. And then after that, it's just like, well, we have a big game now, so we need to keep him. And then we're playing a bad team, so now he can like sit out and get some rest. Like you guys aren't being slick. And plus, Creighton, I mean, you have to look at it. They're objectively just not as good as their ranking. Everybody's been so high on them all year that even when they lose these bad games, like they've lost to most of the bad teams in this conference. I don't remember if they lost to Georgetown. They might not have, but I know they lost to Marquette, St. John's, and then a couple other teams. So they're playing another bad team. Butler should easily cover this 12.5.
Yeah, they lost to G-Town.
Yeah.
Butler, Providence, G-Town, Ket, Xavier, and Nova have been their conference losses.
Not great.
And guess what? They lost to Butler too in overtime, their first meeting. So
not great. Not great.
No, not great. That was at Butler. That was with Aaron Thompson. Chuck Harris, let's do it. Let's hope the defense shows up, because the offense, I'm not relying on Butler to try to break 75 today.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, if you look at most of the other teams in the top 25, if you give them those losses, they're not in the top 25. And for some reason, Creighton's still like 14th or 17th. Doesn't seem to make a ton of sense.
Man, I don't think this Creighton hate will ever leave.
No, definitely not.
All right, we got each 2 picks left. Let's round them up, because these are both high-quality matchups. I think both of these are 6 o'clock tips, and your VCU is a nice late one. So who you got next?
No, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock for both of mine. Yeah, or no, 8 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got Belmont. I know they haven't been shooting the ball great. I watched it in their game last night. Like, they won but didn't cover. But where I'm going with Belmont here is from the time they were in the A-Sun to now that they're in the OVC, like they get up for the big games. And in a tournament final, I'm expecting to see probably their best game of the year, or their best game in a while, because they want to make sure they win and leave no doubt to try to move up in the seeding however they possibly can. So I'm expecting a big win. So
do you think if Belmont were to lose this game, would they get the at-large bid? I think they're them and Loyola Chicago. Well, obviously Gonzaga, but they don't really count. I think those are like the 2 teams with Loyola Chicago and Belmont that they could make it in at an at-large, but I'm not too confident in it that they would.
I mean, I feel like Loyola Chicago would almost have to, because if they lose to Drake in the finals, then you're looking at a team that was ranked 20th. You're really taking a team that was ranked in the top 25 and dropping them outside of the tournament because of one loss to another team that only has like 3 losses all year and was also in the top 25 at points this year.
All right, so I guess it applies more for Belmont than.
Yeah, I think if Belmont loses this game, there's a much higher chance they miss the tournament than pretty much anybody else.
And this is where, I mean, it depends also how does Nick Manzuski look, because he's the best guy for Belmont. He missed 2 games. They lost both of them. He came back, played 18 and 28 minutes. It looked like they're working him back up into the minutes, 5 and 13 points in the 2 conference games. I think he's the sole factor in this one. Morehead State can match up with them on offense, but Morehead State's offense is terrible. Belmont's defense is much better, so you're backing the better side here. But you got the 58th ranked tempo going up against the 293rd, so you got a clash of styles there. That's where I think it's Belmont or nothing in this one.
Yeah.
All right. So both of my 6 p.m. games, that's where I got confused. Both of mine tip at 6, and I don't know which one I want to pay more attention to because I'm going to try to give them both. UNC versus Duke is where I'm going to start it off with, and I've seen way too many people on the Duke train this morning. It seems like every single person and their mother is riding Duke +3, +2.5. So that's where I'm going back to Tar Heels -2.5 here, because what would be better than, I honestly think, unless Duke makes a deep run in the ACC tournament, if UNC hands them a solid L here, Duke's out. They win 1 game in the ACC, I don't think that's enough to get them in. So when UNC, I mean, I know it's when you can just basically hand the other team, your biggest rival, knock them out of March, I don't think there's anything more than the UNC players want to do here. First game, 91-87. I ended up winning that one when I backed UNC, so that's where I think UNC is the right side here. You could see some Duke refs come into picture with the NCAA, but UNC at home, let's control, hurt, and win by 3.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of either of these teams necessarily, but I would much rather see Duke not have to play in March, or in like the real part of March for once. It would be great. Just being able to miss them and Kentucky in the same year. I would have.
And Michigan State.
Yeah, I don't know. Michigan State's kind of coming back a little bit. They're working their way towards the bubble. But, I mean, just to not have the Blue Bloods in it, I feel like I would have so much more fun watching the NCAA tournament. Because, like, for the people like us, we don't necessarily care about the names. We want to see the best teams.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd love it if we get to see more mid-majors, because we don't have to watch Duke and UNC play again. So I will root for UNC because they're probably going to be in regardless.
Well, Steven, I got some bad news for you, because I think that last spot's going to come down between Boise and Duke for the playing game. I think that's where we are headed to, which is the worst thing possible.
Well, no. It's not going to come down to that, because I'm putting my future on Boise State to win the Mountain Championship, and we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, let's handle our business there. The East Coast Boise boys will never die. We both got our blue on today. Didn't plan that, but it is pretty close to that Boise blue. Let's wrap it up with our last.
What do you mean?
Oh, you do have a Boise State. I didn't even see that I had the orange. Nice. It works even better. So let's wrap it up. We're 20 minutes into these nooners. So what's our last play of the day?
Okay. VCU, just because I was 100% right about VCU in the A10 preview. Those freshmen they were the most talented freshmen in the league. They proved it. They still ran their kind of defense. So I'm never going to back off VCU until they lose and they're not playing anymore.
That line is so fishy or righty to me, because what has Davidson shown so far? I mean, congrats. You spanked Mason, who struggled with GW. Hopefully Joey B is no longer watching, because he's talking to me about the fanboy. Now I'm hating on his alma mater. But I texted Jordan and my one other buddy yesterday after like the first 2 minutes of that VCU game. I'm like, why is Bones dragging that ankle? It looks like he definitely has a cortisone shot or something to help him going. Then Bones breaks out and gets 23 in the first half. I was like, yeah, he definitely has some shot, but I was completely wrong, looking like he was going to be slow because they had nothing to stop Bones yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, there's no way I wouldn't be on Davidson in a pick 'em against VCU, and especially because VCU has another home game here. It's at VCU, so
Yeah.
you're telling me that technically here you'd be giving Davidson the edge by only making VCU -1.
Exactly.
Disagree with that.
So do I.
All right. This one was the one I probably tossed and turned the most on between which side I wanted to back. I backed Bonnie's the first time they met SLU in the season on the money line as a dog, and Bonnie's got smacked. So naturally, I'm flipping it. I'm going SLU at the -2. Same line as it was the last time. I think it was technically SLU -3. That was off their COVID break. And yes, they did look extremely well against a UMass team yesterday that has nothing on the inside. Bonnie's does with a Sunni there, but that first matchup that I watched, I think it was 2 or 3 Saturdays ago. I mean, I know Schmidt only runs his 6 guys. SLU got Bonnie's into foul trouble and made them play 3 or 4 bench guys for more than 5 minutes. And that's a lot for Bonnie's because Bonnie's literally their guys log 32 minutes, all their starters. So it's not like they're going to that bench frequently. I think SLU goes right back to that same tape of just get them in foul trouble, just make it so much easier on yourself. And I mean, Goodwin, French, they're just looking unreal right now in this tourney. I think I picked SLU in the A10 preview with Jordan to win it outright. So if I'm only having to lay a -2 here, I'll happily do it. If they win by 1, I'll go crazy. But I think the value is on the Billikens today.
Yeah, I think it's got to be on St. Louis too. It just makes sense. Like St. Louis can run so much deeper, so many more guys. Even though the talent, I think that's where St. Bonaventure loses. The talent in the starters is pretty much the same, and then when you get into the bench, the edge is just so much towards St. Louis that I feel like they are the only play here. If you're going to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, the A10, I've been grinding every game. I don't think I've missed one yet. There's not a chance of missing either of these. I might be locking in VC later, but that's a later tip. All my games are from 2 to 6. So Steven and I will recap our plays real quick, and then we'll sign off for the day and start grinding some hoops because I know we're both salty. We've missed 20 minutes. But there wasn't really any good of those nooners. So.
Oh.
Why? What game at noon was good?
I have to watch the UConn game. I haven't missed one yet this year.
My bad. So I'll breeze through these picks to get him to UConn, even though they were 10-point favorites today. I got UMBC -5.5, Purdue -6.5, ETSU -1, UCLA +3, Illinois +2, Vermont first half -5, Butler +12.5, SLU -2, and then UNC -2.5.
All right. And UConn's already covering that 10-point spread, by the way. Nice 8 minutes into the game. We love to see that. But I got Navy -5.5. They're getting smacked. So I'm already 0-1. I got UMBC -6, Wagner -4.5, Hartford +9, Mercer money line, Drake -2, Furman -8.5, Belmont -6.5, and VCU -1.
Yes, sir. And that's going to wrap us up. You'll see me and Steven live probably right around the same time tomorrow. We're going to aim for 12 to 12:30. Him and I will be covering Mountain West. So, yes, he alluded to who he liked there. Then we're also going to be diving right into the Big East afterwards. So 2 good conference preview streams coming up for you. This is College Gamebreakers brought to you by thebreakdownsports.com. And you can follow me under my head, Steven. If they want to hear you rant about your picks today, where can they follow you at?
Steven Carlson 97. It's got a capital S and a capital C, but that's whatever. I'm using it so long, I got to get that fixed. But if you want to do it, you can. I'm not gonna hold your feet against the fire to do it, but it's not a bad idea. Is all I'll say.
And until tomorrow, we'll see you guys later.
Yep. See you later.